Welcome, and thank you for your interest in the Fulbright Distinguished Awards in Teaching program. In this recording, we will provide U.S. applicants with guidance for completing the Inquiry Project Proposal section of the online application. The Fulbright Distinguished Awards in Teaching program is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. It is administered by the Institute of International Education, IIE. The Inquiry Project is a unique component of this program, which offers teachers the opportunity to explore an educational topic in depth. Is there a question or topic that you have always wanted to explore, but never felt you had the time? This could be your chance. Before completing the Inquiry Project Proposal section of the application, applicants should review the application instructions. Please be sure to include as much detail as possible in your Inquiry Project proposal. This recording will give you several tips to help you write the proposal. The next few slides will give you tips to keep in mind when working on your Inquiry Project proposal. First, demonstrate that your topic is of direct relevance to your work, whether you are a classroom teacher or fill another role such as school counselor or media specialist. Explain why your preferred host country is particularly well suited for pursuing your project. You should show evidence of why your project is a good fit for your first country of choice. For example, you could reference articles or projects based in the host country that relate to your topic. Additional information about preferred project types for some countries is available on the Participating Countries section of the website. Note that while your topic should fit your first country of choice, you may not be selected for your first choice, so your project should ideally be broad enough to relate to other countries as well. If you like, you can provide information about why your project topic is relevant in other countries. We suggest that you provide information for only your first country and second countries of choice, with a focus on showing how your first country of choice is the best fit for your project. Next, be sure that you need to be in country to do the research. We have received excellent proposals in projects from teachers who are not selected for the program because, in part, the project could be accomplished virtually or through other means that did not require travel to another country. The scope and goal of your project should be appropriate for the amount of time you will be abroad. Be realistic regarding what can be accomplished in 3, 4, 5, or 6 months. It takes time to settle in and connect with local educators and others once in country, so make sure your inquiry project can be accomplished during the time you will be abroad. It is also important that you make sure your project is neither too broad nor too narrow. We receive many high-quality proposals that propose to do too much more than is feasible in 3 to 6 months. So err on the side of a smaller, focused project rather than a broad one. A limited number of 9-month-long grants may be offered to U.S. teachers whose projects warrant extended time abroad. If you are interested in being considered for a 9-month grant, please clearly and concisely explain the inquiry in the Inquiry Project section. The value of the extra time in country would add to your project development, including how you would utilize the extra time in the host country. Be sure to discuss how your project relates to your professional and academic experiences and how it will enhance your professional development and career goals. Provide a detailed description of the process you will follow in your host country in order to implement the program, which should include the approximate time frame for each step, individuals that might be involved, methods used, and activities. We recognize that the process and timeline may need to be adjusted once abroad, but you need to demonstrate that your application that you have carefully thought through each step of conducting your project. Explain how your project will benefit underserved student populations in your home country. Reaching underserved populations is a priority for the U.S. Department of State, and this question will be looked at closely during the application review process. Explain how you plan to apply what you have learned on your program when you return to your home country. Explain how your experience will impact your classroom practice, your school, and your community. Think about how you can share what you've learned even more broadly. For example, through national conference presentations. How will you use and apply what you have learned abroad? Many otherwise excellent project proposals do not move forward in the selection process because, in part, they don't provide this information. A key component of the program is the host institution placement, and several factors are considered when an institution is selected for each U.S. participant. The host institution is typically a university, but it can also be an educational nonprofit organization or similar type of organization. We will use the university as the default descriptor in this webinar. A primary selection criterion is the fit between the project and the resources available at a host university that would support the completion of the project. Certain host countries, such as the United Kingdom, require that the applicant select a university off the list on the website and state in the application why that university is a good fit for the project. In other countries, such as is the current case in New Zealand, all selected teachers will go to the same host university. Applicants should visit the participating country section of the website and click on the name of the country in which you are interested in applying to find out more about individual country requirements. For the majority of participating countries, participants are encouraged to research and include in the proposal one or more potential host universities and faculty members that they would work with on their project while abroad. But it is not a requirement. Please note that even if you include information about one or more preferred host institutions, you may not be placed at the university, as many factors go into the selection of a host campus. In the next few slides, we will highlight 2 successful inquiry projects from DA alumni. These examples are not the only types of projects that applicants can propose, but are samples to illustrate what has been successfully done in the past. A more complete list of projects can be found on the program website at www.fulbrightteacherexchange.org. The first example is a curriculum inquiry project called Living Lessons. This project examined the teaching of conflict management using the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission as the focus. The first step of the inquiry project process is to develop your ideas about the topic you want to explore. Typically, this is phrased in the form of one or more key questions. In this example, the alumna asked a broad general question and then drilled it down into a more focused inquiry project topic. This slide shows some of the methods the alumna used to conduct her project abroad. The methods you propose need to fit the type of data you hope to collect. For example, you can conduct interviews if you want first-hand accounts from host country nationals, a survey if you want to collect the same type of information from several people, etc. Make sure the methods and processes you propose fit your project and, most importantly, can be achieved in the amount of time you plan to be abroad. Be aware, however, that in many countries, gaining access to minors is difficult and can take many weeks longer, so think carefully about the type and level of access required for your project. In the final product of the alumna's project was a curriculum guide for a series of workshops to help students develop skills in peaceful conflict management. For your project proposal, be sure that the outcomes you propose fit with the topic and method. For instance, can you collect information you need and achieve your targeted outcomes in the amount of time you have? Plan this section of your proposal carefully and make sure your desired outcomes are applicable to your educational practice, as the strongest applicants will clearly connect all project proposal components: topic, method, and outcomes. This second alumni project example is a professional development inquiry project called Deepening Cultural Knowledge and Building Community to Impact the Learning of Mexican Heritage Students. In developing this project, the alumna had a specific inquiry focus to learning about the people in her host community, in this case, Mexico. She chose this topic because it directly related to a need she had in her U.S. school, which has many students and parents from Mexico. The project goals address the participants' desire to provide meaningful information to U.S. educators about the Mexican student population in her home school and find ways to build relationships between educators and Mexican families. These are excellent goals because they integrate information from the host country educational system into educational practice in the U.S. in a meaningful way. This slide shows some of the processes the alumna used during her time abroad. Please note that while a literature review may be necessary to provide the context for the project, a literature review should not be the focus of a project, as participants are meant to be directly applicable to classroom practices, and literature reviews are not the best means to accomplish that goal. The final project of this project was a teacher guide to be used by teachers independently or in professional development workshops. The table to the right shows a screenshot of the guide's table of contents. Remember that these were just 2 project examples. You can visit the program website to view more alumni inquiry project examples. When working on your project, focus your efforts on the topic, methods, and outcomes that make the most sense for you and that are applicable to your proposed host country. Before wrapping up, I'd like to make a few general comments about the application. Before submitting, we strongly recommend that you view the application checklist posted on the program website. The checklist includes the components of the application that must be submitted to IIE by the deadline in order for your application to be complete. Here is a snapshot of the selection and notification process timeline, also found on the program website. All applications must be submitted by 11:59 p.m. Central Time on the deadline date. Late submissions will not be accepted. IIE will notify applicants of their status by the end of March. If anything about your application changes after you submit your application, such as a change in employer, please notify IIE. Please contact IIE Fulbright staff at fulbrightdat@iie.org with any questions. We wish all applicants the best of luck. Thank you for your interest in this wonderful program.